I'm John and welcome back to Pass Forward. It's been a few days since my last video. Not that many of you probably noticed, but I'm back and wanted to welcome you all again. Notice the mustache, it's Movember. Anyways, for those of you that aren't in the Greater Toronto area, Toronto has a history of rather colorful and sometimes embarrassing mayors. Now, I don't want to get into an argument about policy, right wing, left wing, chicken wing, but one thing politicians of any stripe need to know how to do is handle the media. The media, whether you like them or loathe them, are the ones that are going to communicate your message to the voter. And if you don't know how to handle them, sometimes your relations with the media can turn out something like this.
So Josh, how you doing? Josh, look at me. You don't want to go down with your brother? Why, are you a little upset? You feeling a little down? No? Hey, oh, no pictures, sorry sir, no!
Now, it may not have happened exactly like that, but you get the idea. Now, Rob Ford was allegedly pulling up on his driveway when he was confronted by a crew from a CBC comedy show that does political satire. The idea is a character dressed as sort of a Xena warrior princess type ambushes the politician and asks them some questions to put them on the spot. Your basic Saturday Night Live comedy skit is more funny and more interesting, frankly. But one thing Ford didn't do properly is, as a politician, he should know that anytime someone puts a microphone in his face, it's a chance to communicate to his voter base. Now, there are two ways of doing this, the right way and the wrong way. The wrong way, a classic example, is the Dan Quayle outburst about Murphy Brown talking about single motherhood. Regardless of whether you agreed with his opinion or disagreed with it, and Murphy Brown to a degree agreed with him, he got just murdered in the press over it and ridiculed. A lesser known example is a guy named Preston Manning, who was a leader of a short-lived party in Canada called the Reform Party, a fairly conservative party. He had the same individual confront him and say, "Preston Manning, is it true that you're going to eliminate the 12 days of Christmas?" To which he replied in his sort of awkward prairie twang, "No, it's not true. It's a lie. We're only going to eliminate 6. That's how you handle this kind of thing. Regardless of whether you like Preston Manning or disliked him, you couldn't help but sort of admire the guy for his quickness on his feet and his ability to laugh at himself. That's what Ford should have done. It didn't help him that, on top of how he handled it, he berated and admitted he swore at a 911 operator, allegedly also calling her rude name for a female dog, and that his description of facts didn't quite match the video. Allegedly, he said he was ambushed at night. The video clearly shows it was during the day, and his daughter, who was not in the actual video, he claims was terrified by the whole series of events. Now, if that was the case, the smart thing to do would have been to tell his daughter, "Come here," trot her out in front of the cameras and say, "Look, you've upset my daughter. She's on the verge of tears. Can we do this another time? Guys, I'm happy to play along, but just it's not a good time when you're on my property." CBC likely would have apologized. They would have shook hands and make up, and they would have probably recreated it somewhere else. And all would have been good, and Ford would have come off looking fairly classy, whether you liked his policies or not. Instead, he took the low road. It's unfortunate that supporters of Ford tend to just blame the CBC for being on his private property, which they were, and saying he had every right to do what he did, but ignoring the obvious facts that a politician does not act that way. And those on the so-called left who just revel in the fact that Ford made a jerk of himself in front of the cameras and ignore other facts, if true, about his daughter and the obvious fact of being on his property. So if you're a politician, and anytime someone sticks a camera in your face, or an aspiring politician, smile, play along with the joke, and for heaven's sakes, realize that these are the people that are going to communicate to your meal ticket, the voters. Thank you again for watching Pass Forward, and have a good night.